Yeah, hi guys, Craig here. Right, what we're going to talk about today is low Earth orbit satellites. Low Earth orbit satellites uh, are satellites, as the name suggests, which operate at a lower orbit than traditional satellites. Now, traditional satellites, I'm talking, for example, geostationary satellites. Now, geostationary satellites orbit at 36,000 kilometers from the Earth. So, a geostationary satellite will have a thing called a footprint, a satellite footprint. So it's beaming down its signal, radio signals. So, for example, it's a satellite television, um, geostationary satellite, or any type. It'll have a satellite's footprint, which may be somewhere like European continent. Right, if that's your geostationary satellite and my head's the Earth, as the Earth rotates, the satellite's rotating with it in relation to the ground. So what that means is, yeah, you're getting, if that part of the Earth is getting the signal all the time, it's always getting the signal, even though the Earth's rotating. The only downside with that is the other side isn't, because your satellite's not pointing that at that part of the Earth. So you don't. That's what we mean by satellite footprint. Now, low Earth orbit satellites are smaller, cheaper satellites which orbit at less than 2,000 kilometers from the Earth. Can be as low as 500. Now, these are sent up in what's known as a constellation, lots of them, and they're flying around the Earth every 90 minutes. As there's quite a lot of them, this constellation I've talked about, there's always going to be one within communications range, basically above you. So, this means that you've got communications range. So again, my head is the Earth, communications range there, everywhere, because they're constantly circling around. There's always one within communications range. That is what a low Earth orbit satellite and these new networks such as OneWeb, such as Starlink, that's what they're using. Now, this is useful. It's useful because, well, for a start, there's currently 2.6, wait for it, billion, 2.6 billion people, or 33% of the world population, don't have internet access. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? So 66%, I know you can say, oh, 66 and 33 doesn't quite add up to 100%, but we'll ignore the point, whatever. 66% or 5.3 billion people do have internet access. You have it because you're watching me, I have it because I'm sending this video. But 33% or 2.6 billion, which is an estimate by the International Telecommunications Union, which is an agency of the UN, United Nations, they estimate 2.6 billion people. So, potentially, we now have, using low Earth orbit satellites, a way of connecting those 2.6 billion people. There's two ways at low Earth orbit satellites that you can connect to them. Starlink and I said OneWeb, let's use those examples, will have a ground terminal. It's a device which you connect your equipment to, such as your laptop, to this terminal unit, and this terminal unit communicates with the satellite, therefore giving you internet access. There's also a new technology which only really has been proved to work this year, which direct to handset or satellite to handset technology. Now, this is still very new, but what it will allow you to do is connect your standard mobile phone directly with a satellite. So just think of that. You can connect a standard mobile phone directly to these low Earth orbit satellites. No terminal needed, you're connecting directly. So potentially everyone of that 2.6 billion could get an internet signal. They could connect. Now, there's various factors why they won't. which I could go into, and I will go into another time. There's obviously the financial aspects. I'm actually doing a talk on this soon. Yeah, public talk, which I'm expanding on this. But basically, that's all I want you to find out. All I want you to realise today is that low Earth orbit satellites can connect everyone in the world in every remote location to the internet. Now, some of you watching may say, yes, but we've had internet broadband for years. True, using geostationary satellites, etc. But remember I said the geostationary satellites are 36,000 kilometers from the Earth? Well, that introduces something called latency. It's the delay in the signal going up the satellite, the transmitted signal, and then being rebroadcast down to the coverage area, the satellite footprint, which I also mentioned earlier. Yes, you could get it, but the delay, the latency, is not ideal if you want to do things like live streaming, video conferencing, etc. Imagine that you're talking to someone, there's a bit of a delay. So low Earth orbit satellites being closer to the Earth, you don't get that delay. So for geostationary satellites, you may have a 600 millisecond delay. I can't remember what the medium Earth orbit figure is, but ignore that. Let's just look at geostationary and compared with LEO. So geostationary, 600 millisecond delay typically. LEO, 30 millisecond. Now this is sort of comparable with like terrestrial broadband, broadband delivered through the cables in the ground and going under the oceans, the way you connect your home broadband, etc. So this, as you can see, makes satellite broadband a whole lot more useful, and it's available worldwide. It's going to be. Right, this is Craig. That's about low Earth orbit satellites. Any questions, drop them in the comments below. Okay, thanks for listening.